learn. See, the interesting part is that at all times of development throughout all of this, there is a spirit in there that is connected to creation, but the material self does not have the conscious knowledge or ability to be able to use the spirit to actually get in touch with creation for the understanding. It takes a while, many, many lifetimes, before the individual actually learns to understand the fact that, I do have a spirit, and I can use this spiritual self to actually learn more about creation and about life. And, well, what do you know? I can use my spirit actually to help my material life. That will set in eventually, but not at this point. Okay, the fifth step of reasoned life is the belief of higher forces, superstition, fear of evil, veneration of good, etc. It's time for, this is a germination time, it says, for religions and etc. to come into power. We're starting to form beliefs. We think this might be the way it works, and we form religions, but we really don't know the answer yet. The sixth level of reasoned life is the primary recognition of real reality, research, position of real truths, first spiritual cognitions and their use, spiritual curing, telepathy, etc. Now this is considered by the Plejadians to be the present position of the average Earth human being. So let's go over that again, the average Earth human being. By the way, we're also told at this point that the average Earth human being is 60 to 80 million years old as a spirit form. Okay? So if you take 60 million years and divide that maybe by an average lifespan of 30, 40 years, you can see that by this time we've had an awful lot of material lives just to get up to this point. Okay, again, that level was the primary recognition of reality, research of real knowledge, first spiritual cognitions. That means we're just at the point, many of us are just at the point where we're beginning to understand and are quite sure we really do have a spiritual self, that we're more than just a material being, that there's more to us. Our first spiritual curings and so forth. Here they're talking about that we're understanding that if we have a spirit, well, possibly it's useful. Maybe there's something we can do with this spiritual self, that we can develop some sort of force with the spirit where it could be useful for better health. Perhaps it's useful for communicating. Well, maybe it's even useful to try to get information from other life forms. Maybe it's useful to try to get in touch with creation or God or whatever we think of as God. Maybe that's entirely possible. Now, this is exactly about where the average Earth human being is. Matter of fact, most of them, though, I'm afraid a lot of them aren't quite to this level, but this is where the Plejadians see the average Earth human being at this point. The seventh level of development of reasoned life is called the primary development of knowledge and wisdom. So this would be an area here where development of knowledge and wisdom, where we are actually looking for real facts. We're trying to find out what wisdom really is. The third step of development of human life is called the intellect life. Okay? Now our first was primary life. The second is reasoned life, where we learn to think. The third is intellectual life. We're starting to intellectualize things. We're actually coming to conclusions, forming logic. Okay, intellect's life. It's broken also into 7 levels. The first level is called the high development of the intellect, high technology, second utilization of spiritual forces, and primary creation of living forms. Okay, well now we have some intelligence in our being here. Besides just having reasoning faculties, we're using our intellect here. We're developing high intelligence, which we are. Well, many of our people these days, scientists and a lot of young children are coming along with great intelligence. It's surprising how bright some of these kids are that are born these days. So, high technology. Yes, we do have high technology. We're learning more and more about the atom, molecules, the secrets of nature. We're developing now systems which will enable us technically to leave our solar system and explore the universe. So we are certainly moving into times of high technology. Second, utilization of spiritual forces. I would say you could probably define that in the New Age community, the people are searching for. They are trying out. They are trying to discover what can be done with spiritual forces. We're aware now that things like telepathy and so forth are possible, that the spiritual self somehow does have an effect on the material life, that a person who understands more and more about the spirit itself is somehow better connected to the life force of the universe. We're becoming aware of that. And we're also becoming aware that because you are more of a spiritual person, that somehow life just seems to get a little better. These people seem to be a little luckier. They seem to be healthier. They seem to live a little longer. We're finding these things out. The second level of intellectual life is the realization and exercise of knowledge. Exercise of knowledge, okay. Truth and wisdom. And also slow breakup of acceptances of belief. Belief is when you believe something might be true, but you don't have the facts. Now, that's very common. But more and more, we're learning more facts about things. So our belief systems, our old mythical belief systems, are breaking down. And we see that already in 1992. Less people are turning to belief structures of all types to answer today's problems. We are evolving more and more into a more sophisticated world where old belief systems do not provide the answers to today's problems. This present position right here, they say, is the present position of the educated Earth human beings, scientists, etc., leading-edge thinkers, and so forth. Probably most of you listening to this tape would fall into that category. You are seekers of truth and wisdom, and you're listening to this tape hoping that you might find some little pearl of information or knowledge that you might need just at this moment to move yourself on down your own path of evolution. And that's exactly why you're listening to the tape, because not only do we have to feed our material body, we have to feed ourselves at lunch, we have to feed our spirit with knowledge also. And most of you listening to this tape are probably feeling the need to feed your spiritual knowledge. You're looking for answers to things, just like I have looked the past few years, and I find it very interesting to share it because it's not only part of my own growth, but I'm quite sure that the things that we're talking about here are the beginning, definitely, of breakup of belief structures and the beginning of wisdom and truth. We're moving that direction. The third level of the intellectual life is the first utilization of knowledge and wisdom. Okay. Well, we're seeing more and more people who have not only discovered that the spirit can be powerful and wisdom is powerful, but we're finding people who are actually beginning to use it more and more. In the form of psychics, people looking into astrology, numerology. We find this a lot in the New Age, so-called New Age metaphysical community, where they may not be right about everything, but they're certainly trying. And that's what growth is all about. You know, it's fine to make mistakes. That's just a natural part of the learning process. So we are at the beginning stages of this, where our people who are experimenting with spiritual growth don't know all the answers yet, but let's give them a hand for certainly trying, and let's see how they do. Maybe pay attention to what they're learning and see if it's useful for ourselves. Because remember, everybody goes through all these different paths of learning. Myself and I found that certain things I'm interested in, certain things I'm not. And so, you know, I look at some information and it's just not right for me at the time. I'm not interested in it. And other things get me very excited and I follow that. So information is out there for all of us to use when we need it, when it's good for us. The fourth level of intellectual life is called the acknowledgement and utilization of nature's laws, generation of hypertechnology, the second creation of living forms. Well, acknowledgement and utilization of nature's laws. Nature's laws. How many people have actually stopped and even thought about laws of nature? Well, we know there is a nature out there, and scientifically we're starting to understand a little bit more. But perhaps there really was some logic the creation had in mind when it created nature. Maybe nature really does live by some set of logical rules and understanding. Wouldn't that be amazing to find out? That maybe there really is something we could learn. Well, there definitely is. There's nothing illogical in creation. It had to learn, figure out, and think out every step of the way for it to evolve, and we're really not paying attention too much to nature. So at this level, at that fourth level of intellectual's life, when people get to that level, that's what they can expect to be working on in that area. Understanding of how nature really works. For instance, some of nature's laws, like gravity,